So both of you are very familiar with this, but again, just to show everybody that is going to watch the replay, are six pillars of health. So yesterday we talked about mindset. Kristen, can I put you on the spot and have you
Sure.
tell us what we talked about?
So we talked about motivation, and I'm going to be honest, my biggest takeaway from it was finding I'm not going to say the right word, our like anchor for it.
Yes.
I'm going to call it
Ooh,
that.
nice.
And my biggest thing was that it's not a tangible thing you grab hold of,
Mhm.
but another opportunity
I love
in
that.
there. Yeah.
Did you see I gave you a more extensive answer in the comments? I was like,
Yes.
now that I can really sit and think about it, let me try to articulate it. Did that
I
make
thought
sense?
Yeah, I thought you
Okay.
gave a good answer in the meeting too.
Okay, cool.
Granted, I asked it at the very end, so
No, you're totally fine. I didn't see it right before, so I apologize about that.
oh, you're fine. Don't apologize.
Hey, Nate.
Oh, look,
Oh
she's
my
wearing
gosh, she's
green
wearing green
too.
too. What is it, St. Patrick's Day or something? I love that. Yellow and blue makes green, right? Now I
It
feel left
does.
out. All right, so we'll go back into our six pillars again. So basically, we are kind of doing it in order, right? We know that mindset is the big piece. So we talked about the motivation and finding the catch. I love anchor as a substitute because that's a way easier word to remember. So having that anchor that kind of pulls us in and something that gives us something to work for. And so then we're flip flopping. We're technically talking about fitness today, and that's because the concepts that I want to introduce for fitness and nutrition are similar. The one that we're going to discuss for nutrition tomorrow is like an upgraded version. So not to give too much away, that's the reason that I switched those two. So we are talking fitness today. So we did dive into it just a teeny bit yesterday because I think both Kristen and Nathan at one point in time you were talking about your workouts. And so we are essentially talking about the workouts themselves and fitness. So I titled it The Secret to Never Missing a Workout. So hopefully we fulfill that. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is why we miss our workouts sometimes because it happens to everybody, right? I went through a period of time where very early on, when I was excited about fitness, I did P90X. Anyone else done P90X? Yep. So I did P90X, and it was right around my last couple of years of college, and I got shredded, right? But I was also working out like 2.5 to 3 hours a day on top of cheer, on top of running. Like it was a lot. And I was just so excited and I liked it so much that I like that's all that I did. And it got to a point where my teammates were actually concerned that I might have disordered eating. And that I was at the point where maybe I wasn't eating and stuff like that. And it was really because I was probably addicted to exercise, not that I wanted to admit it at the time, right? And so that's the one end of it. And then the other end of it, I think for a lot of people, and I'll have you tell me your reasons, is that life gets in the way, right? We have a lot of reasons where we might not be working out as consistently as we'd like to. And so that's what we're going to discuss. So any of you, and I'll go one at a time, been in a situation either at the extreme end where you're working out all the time to where it may not be super healthy, or on the other end where you feel like you're just not doing what you know you should or want to be doing. Let's go right first.
Yeah, so usually like in my first when I very first started working out, I was also excited and very like motivated to work out every day and no breaks and but I realized that I was hoping for results sooner than when they would actually happen. So,
Mm.
after like a couple weeks, I'm like, oh, well, I don't look like the guy on like Instagram or I don't look like the guy off Twitter or Facebook or whatever. So, I was like also comparing myself to other people. And then, I wasn't excessively doing it, probably like an hour a day, 45 minutes. But because I was working out every day, I was like, oh, well, I should at least be closer to where I want to be because I'm doing it every day. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, didn't work out like
So
that.
let's ride that train of thought. What happened after you started to compare yourself and realize that maybe you weren't making progress as quickly as you wanted to?
Yeah, it was just demotivating. I was just like, well, I mean, I I don't look like this now. Like it's gonna take forever for me to look like this, or and I guess a part of it too was was being impatient, and not just not being patient to want to work on myself slowly.
Did you ever get into bucket mode? Why am I even trying?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Oh, all right, appreciate. Cool. Thank you for sharing. Kristen, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely went through a period in life where I would work and I would work out and that was it. And I used to be a dance fitness instructor, and so I would do that 5 times a week. And the days I wasn't teaching, I was attending. And then there was a period in life where I was just running and I would run miles every day. And another period in life where I did some lifting, but not a ton. So I go through my biggest thing is I go through segments of periods where I have a um I guess something that's pushing me behind it, and that's what keeps me with it. But my biggest distractor is work and walking away because I work from home, and so it's very easy for those, and I work out at home now, so it's very easy for those things to blend together and do too much of one and not enough of another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, Nate, what about you?
Um, I don't know if I ever worked out too much in my adult life. I mean, time wise, there were definitely years where I hardly worked out, if at all. Um, but I guess I could say back in high school, I maybe had some habits. Like a couple summers, maybe I had basketball or some lifting in the morning, and then I'd go to the baseball field like hours early and hit, and then we'd have batting practice, or like hit off a tee, and then we'd have batting practice, and then we'd have the game. I might also be helping my dad during the day. So maybe just not prioritizing. Like there were times where lifting would have been more beneficial than just. I thought that just moving all day was always good, but wasn't the case. On the flip side, when you don't move,
That
that's
could be even worse.
my probably even worse because there was years of my life where I had that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, I've definitely been on the other end of the spectrum too. I think it was the last set of workshops that I told you guys I got to a point where I got a lot of comments about being really strong while I was stunting. And so I stopped lifting. Like I had the worst relationship with lifting for a couple of years. And I would do a little rehab, I would go to practice and stuff like that, but I wouldn't lift because I didn't want to get bulkier and get heavier and blah, blah, blah. Like all this stuff that I know is bullshit as a personal trainer. And then I still bought into it because of the body image issues. You know what I mean? And so I struggled just as hard to get myself to work out as I did back in the day to not work out. You know what I mean? So it seems like it's kind of extremes one way or the other for a lot of people. Would you agree?
So I kind of had the exact opposite problem from that. I was like super like like fairly underweight, I would say. Like uh and but I wanted the opposite. I wanted to be like as big as possible so I could hit the baseball farther, but I was like 111 pounds.
Yeah.
And it so like I did the wrong things. Instead of more lifting, I like would restrict what I ate, and I like would often do extra movement or whatever, running or what other. And so I was kind of moving in the opposite direction unintentionally.
Absolutely. That brings up a really good point too. So the piece that I wanted to kind of segue into here is what makes it so difficult to be consistent. So I want each of you to think of something that's gotten in the way of you doing what you know you're supposed to be doing, whether that is too much or too little, right? Reading it into that middle. What is something that you feel like gets in the way or causes you to not do what you're supposed to be doing. Can I go in the same order? Right?
Yeah. So for me, it's probably like things that revolve around my schedule. Like if one day I have too many things going on, like where okay, this hour I have to do this, and then right after that hour I have to do this, and then right after that hour I have to do something else. That's when I'm like, oh well, maybe I could, just hold off on my workout. But I've been good about like not doing that or telling myself no, I want to show up for myself. But yeah, just when I have a lot going on in my schedule, like in that day or during that week.
Absolutely. Kristen.
Honestly, to me, I think it's just myself. I think it's creating the boundaries necessary to be able to walk away from one thing to engage in another and not have burnout in the process of it.
Nate?
Well, I'd say nowadays it's pretty hard for me to work out too much because like I just don't have the time after work to really. I mean, I guess I could lift too much. Like I don't really want to lift for more than 45 minutes or an hour at a time, but like I feel like I could come home and move the whole evening and like I'd be catching up from sitting all day. So it's more so like getting out and doing like going getting in that movement is more important now for me, I think.
And is your ultimate goal, I know that we've talked about before, you wanted to get stronger. Is your ultimate goal still to get stronger?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Can I challenge your last comment?
Sure.
You already know what's coming. We're getting good at this. Is just getting her out and moving gonna get you stronger?
No, I would.
Something to consider. Okay. So one of the biggest pieces that we're focusing again on for this whole series is sustainability. So that's why I want to kind of start with that story of like how I went a little too hard, because I think a lot of times, whatever it is on our plate, our full schedule, work, you being able to get into the mode, those are all about sustainability, really deep down, right? Like, is what we're doing going to be something that we can continue to do forever? Kristen, I already know the answer for yours is no. If you work in like 80-hour weeks, it's crazy. Girl, me too, I feel it. But that's what we want to look at here is, okay, what we're doing now and the way that we're living our lives now, is this something that I could do long term? So let's say you're not in an ideal situation. You're not working out as much or as little. We're not in that balance piece as you would like to. Let's go extreme. Right. What could happen if you're at one end of the extreme or the other?
Well, like what Kristen was saying, you burn out. Like if you're working out too much, you burn out, and not only does it affect your exercising habits, but your health, your work, family, even friends, yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Kristen, anything to add?
I think if you look at it from the reverse side, if I treated my workouts with the same level of priority I did my job, I would never miss one.
Yeah. And why does that even matter? I know that sounds like a stupid question.
No, I think it's a valid question because it's where you place your priority.
Mm.
I think our priorities are based off of either our belief structure or the return on the investment that we're putting in.
Mm. I love that. I would like to explore that more. Let's pin that.
Sure.
Nate, anything to add?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, let's talk return on investment. I love that. What is our return on investment? Open forum, anyone who wants to talk, with being consistent in fitness. Because we know that we're supposed to work out, but like, why does it even actually matter, right? What's our return on investment there?
I mean, if nothing else, endorphins.
Yeah.
Endorphins make you happy.
Happy people just don't kill their husbands.
I was going to say that. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a level of achievement in being successful with your workouts as well. And I think that by remaining consistent and achieving those goals and working it in and not setting yourself up for failure with going too far one direction right away, that makes a difference.
Ah, I think it's also what I'm hearing a little bit, and tell me if I'm interpreting this correctly. It's like proving to yourself that you can, right? Like that resilience piece, like, oh, I'm capable of doing this. Love that.
Yeah. And that I want to do that.
Love that. Ray, what's some of our return on investment for exercise, fitness, staying active?
Yeah, so what first came to mind was longevity, you know, being older and not being so prone to injury, not breaking a bone, being stronger, living longer even.
Love that. Nate?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I mean, on a daily basis, I don't necessarily feel a return on investment from lifting, but I might from like a long walk or going swimming or playing basketball. But a longer term, you might be able to see in, investment from uh, lifting or strength training, I should say.
Okay. I'd like to explore that more if that's okay.
Sure.
What is the difference that you feel in a walk or a swim versus lifting?
It wears me down. Um, I feel like I let out energy and then I usually sleep better.
Okay. And you don't feel that when you're lifting?
No, not really.
Okay. What about you two? Do you feel that way at all when you're lifting?
When I lift, I notice I am actually more tired.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I feel more tired, but I also get a large sense of gratification knowing I did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like that you use the word gratification because I think a lot of just the world, right, is all about instant gratification nowadays. And so you're right, Nate, the longer term effects of like looking stronger, being stronger, and stuff like that are a little bit further out. If I could challenge your perspective a little bit, my body hurts less when I lift. My energy is better when I lift. My mood is better when I lift. And those are all things that you can feel basically almost right away. Do you feel that at all?
Um, I enjoy lifting. I don't necessarily feel that way after lifting.
So I can see if you don't feel that way, how it might not be as appealing.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes maybe if I don't know if I spend long enough or get the right timing of it.
Yeah. Brainwash yourself a little bit. Okay, definitely. Great. So we talked about return on investment. We talked about the sustainability aspect. So for the most part, would we say that part of the reason, like you said, that our schedules are busy and all that stuff, part of the reason that we're not able to create that consistency or that balance for ourselves is because we've got so much going on and it's hard to keep everything in line or prioritize it correctly? Yeah. Okay, cool. So we know that things aren't always going to go according to plan. Totally fine. So the next concept that we're going to go into is our PCS principle. So Kristen, you're very familiar with this. PCS is practical, consistent, and sustainable. So every habit that we want to create has to have these three characteristics. So I want you guys to tell me, popcorn, whoever wants to go first, what was unpractical, impractical, whatever that word is. What was not practical about something that any of you were trying to do in balancing the exercise as well?
I mean, I think for me, trying to engage back in some of the workouts, I was really focusing on some of the powerlifting movements that I couldn't do because it physically hurt. And so then I would get into dichotomous thinking and not do it at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if it's not practical, then why am I even trying? Right, right? Yeah. If my goals aren't practical, why am I even trying? Anyone else for practical?
Yeah, kind of going off what Kristen was saying. Like even lifting too heavy or doing too much of what you can handle is very impractical and is also unmotivating
Yeah.
because you're not really feeling the benefits of it. Instead, you might feel like get hurt or feel some kind of injury, something that you've never felt before.
Yeah. Totally. Oh, please, Nate, go ahead.
Oh, I guess I was thinking there was a time period where I did like I would I was pretty young at the time, but I would do like literally hundreds of crunches a day, and also like I cut out like all pop. Still to this day, I don't drink much pop, or at least regular pop and candy, but it was unsustainable. One, just for like time reasons, it's hard to do that many crunches in it every day. Um, and then, yeah, then you can only cut so much from your diet too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings up a really good point too. One of my other clients, to be unnamed, but one of my other clients, we ended up adding stuff to her workout because she was really excited about everything that we were doing. But she was like, "Oh, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this," and then we kept making her workout longer and longer and longer and longer to the point where she was working out 2 to 3 hours a day. And at one point, we were like, "No." That's too much. Like, that is not practical. We need to trim this down. There's no reason that you should be. And so that's what we're looking for too, is something that's practical. Absolutely. And these do kind of muddy. So I heard you use this more sustainable. That's totally fine. We'll also address that one. Let's talk consistency next. So what was something that was hard to be consistent about? Was it hard to keep those crunches up every single day?
Yeah, eventually. I mean, it worked at first, but yeah. Um, Instead of finding like a middle ground, I kind of went to like zero.
Which happens a lot when it's not sustainable, right? Totally.
I think for me, one thing that was difficult was consistently maintaining the same weight or trying to go up in weight as regularly as I wanted to because my strength just wasn't there on certain days.
Yeah.
That
And
makes
I know
sense.
that you're a very logical person and you understand progressive overload. And so
Mhm.
logically, you're like, I should go up in weight, right? But your body's not always
Yep.
feeling that dark.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't know if you guys are anything like me for consistent. Sometimes I'll pick up a new habit. I used to do habit tracking and stuff like that. I'll pick up a new habit. And I'm like, well, I should just do this every day. Regardless of what habit it was and how many other habits I was doing at the same time, I should probably just do this every day. And like there was no way that was going to be consistent, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, and I actually kind of remember there a time reading like back in high school a couple years ago that they said if you do a habit 27 times in a row, like you naturally develop that habit. But I found that not to be true because the more I do it, like the more I didn't want to do. Like, yeah,
Mm,
maybe at first I was excited about it, but then it just started feeling like more like a chore than an actual habit itself.
yeah, it was that. And that's a tricky line to ride, right? That's that balance piece. That's what I like to call rebel mentality when we talk to ourselves and we're like, oh yeah, you're gonna tell me what to do? Like, what? Anyway, so that's a really good example.
Yeah, or like I would feel guilty for not doing
Mm,
a habit that day for or
yeah.
doing that habit that day. So I found that it's okay to create new habits, but it doesn't have to be every single day as long as you're consistent with it.
Totally. Totally. Right. Like I don't tell anybody that they should work out 7 days a week. Right. And that's that balance piece. That's just my personal belief. All right. Let's talk about the last one, sustainability. We did touch on this a little bit. So just quick popcorns. What is something that you tried to do that was not sustainable? Or how could you make something sustainable?
Uh, Something we can do to make something sustainable is like what we were just saying, having consistency, not necessarily working out every single day, but having some kind of schedule. Like, okay, I work out 2 days in a row, have a day off, and then the next 2 days in a row, and then the weekend off, or however your schedule fits.
Mhm.
For me, similarly, I have to schedule it to the hour of when I'm going to go. so that it's part of my day, my routine, and that's where I have to be at that time, and that's that.
Yeah, I'd say kind of a combo for those two. Like scheduling it is the only way I've really found success, but also when you schedule it, sometimes it can become too much. At least for me, sometimes it becomes too much, and then I can't hit every day. I just get discouraged.
Absolutely. And sustainability a little bit there, right? So this is a trick that I started using for myself. I schedule a workout time 5 days a week, and I try to do 3. So that if life gets fucking crazy and there's no way I'm working out on Tuesday, I scoot that one to Thursday. You know what I mean? And so that's something that I've been doing for myself so that if I needed to break up my workouts or if I needed to, like I feel really strong and I can lift heavier this day and I can shift my workouts around, that flexibility, but still having that scheduling piece has been super duper helpful for me. And so that's what we're going to address last. We are right at about time. Can I go like 5 minutes over? Okay, perfect. So that's where we're going to go last is this idea of better than nothing. And Kristen, I know you've heard that one before. Better than nothing is a principle that we talk about in building university all the time because it's what can we do even if we can't do the thing, right? So let's talk plan A. Okay, maybe we need a plan B, plan C, plan D. So we're still doing something, right? And deciding what that standard is for ourselves because that's going to help with the consistency aspect. So that's where we're going to finish our workshop is I want you to give me a plan A, a barrier that might happen, and then what your plan B might be. Obviously, we could dive into like plan Z, but we'll just do 2 steps right now. So Ray, what's something that could get in the way, maybe your schedule like you talked about, and what would be, so what's the barrier, and then what would be plan B?
Yeah, so if I were have to work out like right after work, and let's say actually like today, my brother got sick and then he had to come home early from school, so I had to go pick him up. I had to make him food because my parents aren't here; they're out of town. I had to get medicine and stuff. So I mean, I still did work out, but usually I know like I would instead of working out, or if I didn't felt like I didn't have enough time, I would go and skate for at least 30 minutes.
Love that. Awesome. Better than nothing. Yeah. Listen.
Something I'm starting to try to do is I want to get movement in, so I'm trying to work my feet back to being able to have more steps and whatnot because I have really bad plantar fasciitis. So trying to get better at that. But if there's days where I just can't do that and lift, I'm trying to focus on just do an upper body workout and do something versus not do anything at all.
Love that. Beautiful. Neat.
Yeah, I guess one thing that comes to mind is like, especially if I haven't worked out in a couple of days, no, I won't for another day or two. Just like maybe something at home, like push ups or working on pull ups, because there's really, I mean, it doesn't take any, there's not much, don't need much time to do a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like creating that, like I said, standard or floor for ourselves, right? So if I skip one of my workouts because A, B, or C, whatever happens, I'm making sure that I'm still getting my steps in that day, right? Or that I at least foam roll or something so that my body doesn't feel like crap, right? And so like that's what my standard is for myself. And then that way I'm still doing something, I'm not feeling guilty about it. And I still understand that this is consistency over perfection, right? We've all heard some version of that before. Okay, beautiful. Let's go ahead and do one quick takeaway from each person. Ray, what you got?
The takeaway would be the consistency. Having that consistency, not necessarily doing everything or one thing every single day, but as long as you have some kind of general idea, like how you said, how you want to, where you set like 5 days to work out, and you at least try to do 3. Like I think that's actually very very smart thing to do.
Awesome. Kristen.
I think for me, my biggest takeaway is the reminder of making it practical and achievable.
Hey.
I like the idea of having, or you said of like having plans for 5 workouts, because then you're ready to go if you do have those days, but maybe you get 3 or even 4. Like 4 is probably good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one piece that I do want to make sure that I address as well. And we won't go into it too in depth. I'll let you guys go in a second here. Is that you don't have to work out, right? Like I said, 7 days a week. 2 days is maintenance. 3 to 4 days is strength training. You can throw in a fifth one if you really, really want to, but like you don't have to do a whole lot more than that. And I think sometimes we expect more from ourselves and then create that like gap and disappointment if we're not reaching whatever arbitrary goal we created for ourselves. But really, if we are consistent about it and we can keep doing it, make it practical for ourselves, 2 to 3 days, solid. You know what I mean? My workouts a lot of times are like half an hour. I used to work out 3 hours a day. That's crazy. This is way more practical for me, right? And if I'm feeling good and want to do something extra, then sure, I'll go to like 45 minutes or an hour, but it's because I'm doing the things, not because I'm forcing myself to work out for an hour. Do you know what I mean? And so if we almost make it more of like a easy, tangible, reachable, achievable goal, I feel like that's our secret, right? That's what's going to keep us in it in the long run. Okay, awesome. I appreciate you all for coming, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right,
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.